And we are live. Welcome to the WrestleHook podcast. I am joined as always by my co-host Girard, but today we have a special guest to talk to us about a big pay-per-view that just happened over the weekend. We have Good Job Marcus. Marcus, how you doing?
What's going on, everybody? Glad to be on here. Glad to talk grass with y'all, man. Appreciate y'all having me on.
For sure. We got a lot to get into today, but first, what we always like to do when we have guests on is to ask you a couple of questions about, how you got into wrestling, who your favorites are today. So I guess my first question for you is how did you get into wrestling, and who were some of those early favorites that stood out to you?
Oh man, so basically, I've pretty much been a wrestling fan since the cradle. Like my dad was a huge wrestling fan. He was big in the WCW in the territories. Grew up on Championship Wrestling from Florida, Crockett, like you name it. Like he actually went to the Great American Bash in 1989 and got to
Oh,
see Sting, Great Muta, Flair Funk, War Games, all that. And I've pretty much been
wow.
hooked ever since. And then I got into it usually when my mom used to work late and I used to be a little baby. I was born in 97. So Nitro was in his prime at the time. So I would just kind of be on his lap watching it with him while he's just kind of scrolling back and forth between that and Raw. And then he later got into ECW a little bit and he loved Mike Awesome.
Mm,
So I love Mike Awesome by extension. And then I got a little older. I started getting into it. You start going to shows. My first shows as a fan was a SmackDown ECW house show in 2006.
wow. Okay.
And the main
Hmm.
event of that was Booker T versus Batista in the Steel Cage for the World Heavyweight Championship.
Okay.
Ooh.
Yeah. So and as soon as I got older, I got an AEW. Big fan of that. Watched a little bit of WWE these days. Love New Japan since like 2013. Got in the Ring of Honor around that time too, and here I am.
Gotcha. Well, that's
Well, let
pretty
me ask you
crazy.
this.
Straight from the womb. I mean, that's a really cool experience. Pretty unique, Gerard.
Quick question. What was the thing, the catalyst that got you over to New Japan? What, because there's always something I think for us American viewers that kind of shifted us over to the east for you. So what was it for you?
So basically, I got older and like WWE was kind of on a decline for me personally.
Hmm.
I was in the TNA when I was a little younger. I loved Samoa Joe, loved AJ Styles. Got to see Sting um, as an actual like sentient being instead of being a toddler, watching him do stuff on Nitro. And then that kind of got a little bit weird with me. Then I had a cousin who lived in California. He used to send me over like links to New Japan because he was a huge fan of it too, and he loved Tanahashi. And then Okada started coming into his own. He's like, "Yo, you guys see this dude Okada, man? He's brand new. Like, he's gonna take over the company." Da, da, da. I'm like, "All right, let me see." And then he showed me the G1 Climax in 2012 that he won, and he showed me their first match in New Beginning. I was like, "Damn, you ain't wrong."
Hmm.
Gotcha.
All right. Hey, I like that. And to get on the ground floor of Okada at the start of that must be crazy to then be able to look back on that because I'm coming AJ Styles comes over. So that brings me to New Japan. So he's already established at that point. For you to see the start of the Roman Reigns of Japan for our generation rise up, the John Cena that he was compared to back in the day. But I feel that's more Tanahashi. Just to see his rise, that must be unique for you. So that's a crazy time to get on and to be able to become a big fan. So love that. Hey, version 4 is my favorite World Heavyweight Championship. So
They need to bring that back. I can't lie. I like the World Heavyweight Championship, but it don't hold the candle to that.
oh no,
Absolutely.
not
Yeah,
at all.
we'll definitely talk a little bit of Okada towards the end of the show because at the end we're going to go over the C2. We're going to maybe pick out some matches that we're most looking forward to, maybe some winners, some dark horses, people who we think are going to lose a lot, all those types of things. But first, we got a big show to go into. Um, as far as the pre-show goes, not really much to talk about, but one match in particular, Marcus. I gotta ask
Let's
you,
go,
are you feeling the boom?
man. You already know. I was bringing the boom.
Boom!
I love that shit so much. Like I was one of those fans that normally I kind of eye roll when you see like celebrity involvement in wrestling sometimes because it
Hmm.
gets like way too ham fisted because wrestling companies don't know how to like rein it in and treat it for what it is. But the Costco guys, like Big Boom AJ, Big Justice, they even got the Rizzler out there, bro. Like they promoted that shit hard for the last
Hmm.
several weeks. And I've always been always a fan of the content as it was. 'Cause I always found it pretty amusing. Plus, it's family stuff and always gets a kick out of me. Then the match happened. They get out there. The crowd's super into it. You hear them chant "boom." They're getting a fucking aura stare down with QT Marshall.
Then you got we want the Rizzler chant going on. Like it was.
He was crazy over there. Every time he paid the camera to him, he was doing the damn wrist face stuff. I was like, damn, this kid's kind of a pro with this. Exactly.
Yeah,
he does the boom and then the power boom. I was like, oh my god, he kind of doing something here.
His punches are pretty good too.
He's a real worker.
Yeah, I was very impressed by that. And Girard, I saw you shaking your head over there. For a little context, we were at Dynasty this year, and then we went to All Out. And at All Out, it was rumored that Big AJ was going to be in Chicago, and Big Justice was going to be in Chicago. And we saw little bits here and there, but they ended up being on the pre-show. But we got there a little bit late, so we didn't know that they were there, and I had no service on my phone. And we were just sitting there, and then at one point, AJ walks past us because we're like low in the front section of like one of the lower bowls, and AJ walks past us on the floor, and Girard's seen a bunch of people take pictures of him, and he's like, "Who is that? Who is that? Is that a wrestler? Who is that?" And I saw like his bald head out of the corner of my eye. I was like, "That's the Costco guys." Girard does not know who these people are.
I'm old at this point, man. Look, 32 is not looking good on me at this point for TikTok and all that. Look, not for me. I love the reactions from the people. It was one of the best reactions of the night. Homie did a great job in the match. It promotes the company. It got some mainstream publicity. So when you look at all those aspects to it, I'm not mad at it. I get it. I'm just not booming over here like everybody else. I'm sorry.
You're bringing the doom. You're bringing the doom.
You got doom? You don't rock with double chocolate cookies? You don't rock with the
chicken bake?
I'm gonna say I'll get the chicken noodle soup. I'll get the large roll of toilet paper, but like I don't know about that.
You're not rocking with the food court like us Costco guys. Okay, that's all right.
I've never ate at Costco, not once.
But it's $2, man. Times. It's $1.50 combos.
Yeah, but get it while it gets good.
Right. And
inflation, I mean, my God, who knows?
Their CEO said they will never change the price, and that's why we're Costco guys for life.
Right? So you trust CEO?
You said, I mean, I don't know. I feel like they could have bumped it up 50 cents by now. It's been years, but
all I know is the Arizona guys, they kept their word all these years. So at least somebody's a damn honorable billionaire out there.
There you go.
It's on the can.
Speaking of billionaires, we don't have to talk about Ricky Starks. We're gonna go into the main card. We can get to that at the end, baby.
Fucking Ricky Starks.
Like we kind of talked about a little bit before we went live. The main card started with the interesting matchup here. Not one I think anyone really expected to start the show, with Private Party defending their titles for the first time against the Acclaimed, the House of Black, and the Outrunners. This was like they had some qualifying matches on the TVs leading up to this, and this was the kickoff match. I'll start with Marcus. What were your thoughts when you were watching this match?
Why was this the match that Malachi Black decided to go, you know what? I'm going to come out here and work. I'm going to do my moonsaults. I'm going to get my shit off. I'm going to hit the end on people. I'm going to be one of the best workers in this match. Like, why this match of all the matches you possibly could have done?
Yeah, no, I feel that, definitely. I thought him and Brody had some of the spots that I enjoyed the most. But to be honest, a lot of the story of the match wasn't really so much about Private Party from my perspective. A lot was about the Acclaimed and their tension going on. Girard, what did you make of that? Are you interested in that breakup angle? What was your perspective on that?
I seem to be on an island alone over here because I'm like the only person who doesn't want to see them break up. I feel like I'm the only person who doesn't want to see those two break up. Like everybody wants a split between them. I like the fact that they are an AEW original team. Honestly, I like the fact that they are the most pushed and promoted AEW original team that we have, and so let's evolve them one more time. Like let's cut off daddy ass. Let's shake that up a little bit. We should have done that by now, but like let's add a layer or two more. Maybe make them heels. Like maybe add them something to it, and then have them flip on each other. But just give them a little bit more. And maybe one more run with the belt. with the tag belts itself. Maybe not a long one. We don't need have them have a good series with somebody. Who? I don't know. I haven't really. I don't put too much time into the acclaimed, if you will. I'm sorry. But after this match, I was like, okay, I get why people kind of want it now. But also at the same time as I'm gonna just say this. I think doing this story at the same time as the New Day story side by side, in a sense, two separate stories, but two breakups of two brother groups. The POC turning on each other. I'm tired of that. B,
Why are there so many tag team breakup stories in wrestling right now?
I feel like bookers just don't know what else to do with tag teams to like tell interesting stories besides like hint that they don't like each other. I don't know, but I think it's an interesting point because I think you're right, Girard. 99% of the people that I've interacted with in this space are pretty much done with the Acclaim, but I do think it's worth mentioning. Like they kind of teased the heel direction like recently, but they never really followed through with it. And they've been very one note kind of this entire time since their popularity rose and they added Daddy Ass to the group. I think it'd be cool if Bowens just dumped Max and took the card and linked up with the Hurt Syndicate, but
I'm all for it.
That might be some extra fantasy booking. I don't know. But that's what I want to happen. But also, like, if there's anything left to get out of the Acclaimed, it is definitely not as a babyface team. I thought the reactions are pretty crazy. Because that's kind of been like more of the online reactions where some of the buildings, they've been getting some pops, like even like 6 months ago, like, as some of those summer shows happen. But I think slowly you're seeing less and less of those. And this at the pay-per-view this time, they were done with Max Caster. They're done with this whole thing.
You can hear a rat piss on Cobb when he got to his rap. Then the match happened. Everyone was like, fuck Max Caster. Ooh, like, we don't want to see you. I'm like, Newark, I am so proud of you. Because like you said, Brad, like all these buildings before, like the pops weren't what they used to be in like 2022, but you still kind of got them in spurts. And people were wearing the shirts in the crowd and stuff. And people would be like polite when they would do their thing. Now it's just straight up, fuck this dude. We're done. I've been done for like a year and a half now. Well, I've been done since the Trios title run. I'm like, okay, I don't need a Trios championship run centered around Billy Gunn retiring. And then the Billy Gunn Jay White match was just egregious.
Everything like, Billy White.
Like, why, in God's name, in every company he goes to that's not WWE, does he get booked like an absolute monster? Like he did in TNA. He's doing it here, like under the low. Like, is anyone talking to him? Is anyone noticing this? Like, I'm confused.
Girard, what was your favorite Billy Gunn matches of all time?
I don't have one. I'm sorry. I don't. Maybe a New Age Outlaws match. If
I'm just kidding. No.
There's not a Billy. My favorite thing of Billy Gunn was "I'm an Ass Man." That theme song as a kid. Yeah,
sure.
I'm an ass man. I'd be coming in here 10 on that song. Yes. Give me the crazy. But that's a different story at the time.
Yeah.
Like him in 2024, he does nothing for me. Billy, I just need Billy to send him back to WWE so we don't have to keep having these occasional, look, can we have Billy? No, you can't have Billy. Oh, okay. Like, just give him Billy.
It is a funny thing we do every year. Every time there's like a DX reunion or something.
Let him go over there and vibe in Gorilla with Triple H.
Sure, he can sit with Regal.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, no, I think it's time for them to separate from Billy. And I mean, if they can't really think of a greater story, and I also get people's unenthusiastic attitude towards Max and just a lot of his behavior on and off the screen. So I get people just being over this and wanting Bowens to be able to grow and flourish on his own. So
he's good. I think he's really good. But one thing that during this match I was just very confused at is why Rick Knox started counting a pin when they started pinning each other.
It was so weird. Like, why was that a part of this story, part of this match?
And then the announcers tried to cover it. They were like, "Oh, and that would have been a no contest." And I was like, "What? What is happening?"
Why?
Why is it happening in the first place?
I don't know. Exactly. Rick Knox sucks.
Bro, whoever decided that in the back when they were trying to put this match together needs to be taken out by the executed. Like, why?
Yeah, they need to be caught in compromise.
I was glad Part 41.
Yeah, this was a disappointing start to the show. I was kind of hoping And I guess looking forward, some Private Party will get some more opportunities with some singles like feuds or straight up tag feuds. But I was kind of hoping for more of a 1v1 here with a little bit of a story of them. How do they defend the titles? What's kind of that look like? But we got through this in about it was like 12 minutes or so. Then we went right into Roddy and MJF. So this was another match that's been built not really to my taste. There's been some videos on the screen of MJF pretending that he's that he's live reacting, and they always make me laugh. Like even if they're not good, they're at least funny.
He's so clearly not in the building, or he very clearly like drew it out like 2 weeks ago. It's so transparent.
It's an interesting thing to see. But this match they did like a weird like, hey, if you win 3 matches, then whoever wins 3 matches first, if it's Adam Cole or I knew the destination would be all right, so I was I could let it pass, but that TV kind of stunk. But the match itself I thought was okay. It really stunk, but the match itself I thought was pretty decent here. Just Roddy had some pretty good comebacks on the show or in the match, and I thought that the angle afterwards, even though I'm not super interested in the lore of the Undisputed Era in 2024, I just thought that MJF did a pretty good job here, and that arm break specifically was all right. Girard, what did you think about this one?
When you see a photo of your dad in high school and all his buddies, and then you see your dad and all his buddies in your backyard pulling it together, this is the Undisputed Kingdom at this point. It's the dads and all their buddies. Because honestly, Kyle O'Reilly coming out looking like somebody dad to come pick up his friend who just tried but couldn't do it no more.
Yeah.
Roddy, which Roddy could do it, but like in the match, he lost and got jumped. So like Roddy was struggling. Come on, Adam. Come on, we out here with you at like it's just a bunch of dads arguing back and forth. Like we had it in high school. We trying to have it now. I am interested to see them all get back together for just some. I would be lying to say I wouldn't be happy to see that because I enjoyed them in NXT together. I enjoyed those times, but
It's time.
we have dropped the ball with Adam Cole since last year, since Full Gear last year, literally calendar year. Because if you think about last year, him coming out, I'm going to defend the title for MJF with my broken foot, and that being that storyline from the 0 hour all the way to the main event before MJF limped his little self out there to do his thing. From that point forward, I think Adam Cole has just been blundered personally. And the devil storyline was dropped and
it didn't work at all.
Letting MJF come back to just, I'm gonna kick you in the dick and send you back home. Like, why is Adam Cole the butt of the jokes? Okay, cool. We let Adam Cole come back and do that to MJF. But when he does it, it doesn't feel the same. Well, let's give him the Anarchy in the Arena so he can go boom. But like, it feels kind of weird that why is his music still playing? Then also the dramatics of, I gotta have my music play before I come save your ass. Like if I'm getting my ass beat, you gotta wait for a soundtrack to save me. We are done. So I get
we're taking the boom from him. We're giving it to Big Boom AJ.
Honestly, I would say Big Boom AJ is the best boom in here. He worked with a broken freaking foot in the third Nam Cole has.
He's a beast, dude. I don't care. Marcus, what did you make of this one? I know we can kind of get more into the angle afterwards, but what did you think of the match here?
I liked it. I thought it was a pretty grown-up professional wrestling match.
Mm-hmm.
Look, I have my issues with MJF. Like, it's been well documented. I don't like a lot of the stories that he does. I don't like a lot of shit he tries to get through on TV. But when it comes to the wrestling, when he actually decides to not screw around, he's a very good wrestler. And Roderick Strong is a wrestling machine. All you gotta do is wind him up for how many minutes you give him. He's gonna give you a kick-ass wrestling match. And that's kind of what you got here. And as far as the post match and everything like that, and everything they've done on TV, who could possibly give a fuck about this devil storyline anymore? Like, who could possibly care?
Yeah.
That and that they tried to retcon it with Adam Cole as the babyface. Like, no, you really emotionally manipulate this man in front of our eyes for like 3 months last year. We saw it. We know what we saw. We're not fooled. And when that match happens, MJF is going to get cheered. I'm telling you right now, MJF is not the bad guy in the story, but in any way, shape, or form, he's just getting his lick back on the people that tried to fuck with him last year.
I know, and
Successfully, I may add.
And considering like it hasn't been a lot of logical things, and because whenever they tease this like Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong and Adam Cole, like that, it's never clear how I'm supposed to feel about whether they get back together or not, or who's really in the right or wrong. And I think also considering Cole's like, less than solid performances in singles matches since coming back.
Bad.
I think MJF is definitely going to get cheered because those matches I don't think have been enough to move people with his orange tan, and I don't know. I think it's time we move on though, because after these two matches, I was watching the show back. I was like, man, I thought the show was gonna be pretty good from what I heard. I was quickly reminded why I was excited for the show in the first place, because Mercedes Moné versus Chris Statlander, big time title match here. No Camille, which God bless.
Thank God.
Dang, poor Camille. I was gonna say, damn.
Bro, I never wanted to sign in the first place. I thought she was terrible then. She's even worse now. Now she's in there with good wrestlers. So you really, really see how bad she is. And now they turn into a Looney Tunes character because, she can't do anything right.
Yeah, it's reminded me a little bit of like the Raquel pairing with Liv since she's came back in the fold, where like in all of the angles, like just something's like slightly off or like doesn't look very good. And the matches also haven't been very good, so I'm just not quite sure about that pairing. But Mercedes was on her own here and definitely had a chip on her shoulder, because I think a lot of people, maybe rightfully so, have been kind of critical of her recent pay-per-view performances. The TV matches have been the TV matches, but the pay-per-views kind of haven't been living up to maybe what we thought were Mercedes standards. And this one, I thought this was fantastic. It started out hot with four meteors in a row, like from different angles and stuff, and sunset flip into the corner. Huge buckle bomb where on the fifth one, Chris finally caught her, and I liked that they played up like that. Like, yeah, like obviously she was just waiting for like the one to strike, and she figured it out. Like she can't go to that often. Then there was another huge Meteora. Mercedes had a great cover, I thought. Like I really enjoy when she does those really good covers that totally have that leverage, because they look so good. But there's a kick out there. She started throwing a fit. That's kind of when I thought the crowd was starting to buy that Chris can actually win this match. A bunch of great spots, like the three amigos, a F5 from Chris, a miss 450. And then from that point on, Mercedes was kind of focusing on Chris's knee, as she had done a little bit throughout the match. Mercedes had a frog splash onto the legs, two backstabbers, the Moneymaker, and Chris kicked out of the finish. I thought that was really cool. That was not something we.
Fun fact, that was supposed to be the finish, and then Mercedes told her to kick out.
Oh wow! See, that's how you know she's such a good wrestling mind, and the fact that makes it even cooler to me, because it felt like in that moment, like she totally deserved to be the one to kick out of that spot.
You got to see her ring IQ on full display, and quite a couple of times in the match. There was one instance where they were near the ropes, and Mercedes like grabbed the ropes for leverage, and Aubrey didn't she do a temper tantrum? Like Chris's arm was actually under the ropes, so like to try and like make everything look regular and not make like Aubrey or Chris look crazy, she just turned into a heel trying to cheat the win spot, which I thought was brilliant and really good ring IQ and instincts on her part.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. That's totally true. That's really interesting.
Me too.
So after she kicked out there, there was a slap in the face. She went for another finisher, but there's a backslide. Chris picked her up on the shoulders, slams her face first, about to hit a tombstone, but she tripped her into the ropes and then caught her with the pin. Girard, what did you think about this match?
That Moneymaker. Hey, that was the first one that I saw.
It looked good.
Like, pre-injury, that looked good to me. I was like, wow. And then when Chris kicked out, I was like, oh. But now hearing that and hearing the other side, I like hearing that as a reason, because I was like, wow, you finally hit it and it looked good. And I was like, okay,
like that's the time it doesn't work, right?
I have poo-pooed on that move forever, and so I want to be the first person to give props when it's done right. And so, hey, good on that, but I loved the back and forth. This is my second second favorite match of hers. Nah, second work rate wise. I'd say first is still gonna be Willow for me, but I really enjoyed the output in this match. I loved Chris and her energy that she's putting forth in this whole match. And even though with a loss, I still think she comes out strong on the other side of this match, compared like in the same way that Willow came out strong of their street fight of like, yeah, I lost, but I'm still on the better side of that losing end
Hmm.
than just being a loser and having nothing really to talk about out of that. So I like those elements of it. It went the way I expected it to go with Mercedes winning. I didn't think it was time for Chris to take that off for her. I think Chris's babyface turn, though this match was great, was kind of neck breaking at first. His born again
Yeah, I'll
Chris
say.
angle is something else. It's something else. I got to keep telling people put a turn signal on before you turn that car so crazy. So 'cause that's rough. That's
It was a
rough.
little wild there. I don't know what they was trying to go for, but we're here now, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, I love this match as well. Marcus, did you have any other thoughts on this one before we move on?
I mean, this was the match that she really needed to have on pay per view because the Britt Baker match was, well, you're not going to have a great match when you're wrestling Chip Skylark, especially in Wembley Stadium. Like, it just is what it is, man. We got to call spade a spade what it
Yeah.
is. And then the Sheeta match was really disappointing. Like, she
Mhm.
just wasn't great, and then Mercedes kind of was a little sloppier here and there.
Yeah, I was
And
hoping
then
for
actually,
more on
like,
that one.
the TV presentation is more the real problem just because she's kind of doing more comfort zone stuff when she's probably better suited trying to, like, challenge herself in what she's going to do on TV in her presentation and be
Hmm.
more like what she was in this match, where she was just absolutely freaking ruthless. Like, frog splashes on Chris's bad knees, biting her leg, like doing everything humanly possible to win that match. And then everything was smooth. Like, Chris Statlander is a best in the world level women's wrestler right now in North America, like bar none. And Mercedes, she is who the hell she is, and she showed exactly why she was that Saturday night. Finish was a little abrupt, but I actually like abrupt finishes sometimes, especially
Yeah.
with what they try to do, where like lost her like head first in like a 619 type position where the rope hits her neck, it's a
Hmm.
throw, and then she just kind of rolls her up in a really tight cover.
Yeah.
I thought that was cool. Chris kicking out of the moneymaker, that was big, and then you kind of felt the crowd starting to get into the match more and more. The sooner they realized, oh shit, they're actually about to go long, and this is about to be an epic type of match, and they started giving it the respect it deserved. And I'm really happy it came out great. Happy for Mercedes especially, and then Chris again show why she's the best in the world of a wrestler as well.
Hmm. Yeah, I thought the crowd definitely bought in, which is cool to see. And it was the longest, I believe, the longest AEW women's match so far. So props to them. It was definitely the perfect pairing to have that. My thoughts towards the end too. I was like, man, I kind of wish like there'd have been some more natural continuity or build up for Chris to like have this title shot against Mercedes, just because of the really awkward and abrupt like ending of her pairing with Stokely, and then immediately going into a feud with Mercedes. And I was kind of hoping like I think this is a pairing that has great chemistry, and I'm hoping that in the next iteration of this, like the crowd genuinely believes going into the match that she could win. I think they kind of had to win him over with their work, and they definitely did. But I'm hoping in the future we can get like another match out of this that the crowd can buy into a little bit more going into the match. But regardless, this is one of maybe my favorite match of the night. It's definitely in my top two. But there was definitely a couple other really good candidates here. To move on, we have Jay White versus Hangman, and this is one that they're running it back from the previous show. Marcus, I'll start with you here. What did you think about this one?
That was a good match. I thought it was well worked because Hangman is one of the best wrestlers on the planet. Jay White, as much as I don't love him, I like him but don't love him. He can work when he's in there with great wrestlers, and when he's not allowed to slip into bad habits of him kind of getting a little bit boring there, or him stopping wrestles off for 5 minutes, or trying to counter dance. Which for this match, I kind of got why they did what they did. I don't think Jay White should have won, and this probably should have been a stip to me personally because the first match was fantastic in Wrestle Dream, and it was the correct placement for it when which it opened. Here you're following the fantastic Mercedes match, and it kind of just ended up being pretty good.
Hmm. Yeah, I agree with that. I was really surprised by the outcome there, of Jay White getting another win. Girard, what did you think about that?
I was so butthurt. And so these last
You
two
and me both.
matches, Yo, look, I struggled these last two matches because I like Jay White. I am actually a Jay White fan. We should not be having Hangman lose these matches,
No.
especially after we gave him that swerve win. I'm sorry. Hangman should have this Terminator-esque or where he's just walking through people. The
Mhm.
first loss, okay, counter wrestler. Like we that's what Jay's really good at. Cool. And yeah, we are in the one leg kicking contest in the second match between both people. And if you really think about it, with Jay hopping to hit the Blade Runner, like yeah, he can do that. Can't hop and really hit a buckshot. So I get the story of the match.
Mhm.
It
You just
all
don't think they
makes
should have
sense.
did it?
It's
I
something that
just
just did it,
don't
yeah.
think my man Hangman should have lost.
Yeah.
Like that.
Oh,
We need to
it's
be building him
crazy.
up. What are you feeling, Marcus?
It's like remember the last time he's won a singles match on pay-per-view that wasn't the all-out cage match that didn't count? It was Revolution last year against Mox.
Oh my god. I did not
That
know
is a
that
that.
Texas
long,
Death?
yeah, like that is a long ass time to go without winning an official singles match on tape,
Mhm.
especially with a guy with his talent and his ability and the connection he has with the crowd. It's like, what are we doing?
Yeah. I don't know. I thought it was a pretty okay match, but the finish really confused me, and it was a little bit longer than I would have gone here, especially with like, that it was in the middle of a couple of long singles matches as well that I thought were just a lot more interesting and a lot better to me. There was at the end, Hangman attacks Jay White from behind after the match, so that suggests that it'll go another one, and Hangman will probably get a win at that point. He also punches Christopher Daniels, which might be a babyface move. I don't know.
Might be.
That definitely.
You should have death value. You should have hit a dead eye or a death value drive to the table.
Yeah, we should have.
Christopher Daniels on TV.
We gotta take it further, man. But
Should have hog tied his ass.
yeah. Also, shout out to Novi, who's in the chat a little bit ago. Definitely big friend of the channel here. After this one, though, we had another one of my favorites for the night. Will Ospreay going one-on-one versus Kyle Fletcher. And Marcus, from my understanding, you have some Kyle Fletcher agendas to push, so I'll let you start with this one.
Kyle Fletcher, you so amazing. Kyle Fletcher, I'm so fucked up about you. You're the big proto star.
Mhm.
Some people told me that you wasn't a good wrestler. Some people told me you wasn't going to amount to nothing. Some people said you wasn't going to be a future world champion in this company in the next 3 years, potentially. They told me you wasn't going to go out there and beat Will Ospreay. But nah, this the big motherfucking proto star. And this is what we do. We go out there. It come with brainbuster, baby. It come with knees. It come with all that. It come with a tombstone on the steps.
It comes with Grimstone.
Grimstone, baby. That is a fire ass for a film.
Yeah, that was fire. I like that a lot. But yeah,
I'm so happy for Kyle Fletcher. Like he's been someone that I thought that he has a nice look. He could potentially be somebody that you could circle and keep it down for the next couple of years. And then Mark Davis goes down. Ozzy opens pretty much on ice, and he gets to wrestle singles matches all over TV. They put him in against the best guys in the company. He got Will's first Dynamite match as a signed talent, which was very good. And then you get the heel turn. He's actually starting to figure out what he wants to be as a singles guy. Like the look, he's shaped his body up. Like he even cut his damn hair, which I actually thought was a really fun angle. His promos have gotten better. Like every week you start seeing something different about him, and you start seeing the confidence show. And the match against Ospreay, the confidence was on full display because they actually wrestled the match that they should have. Like it would have been very easy for them to just go out there and just have a fireworks show and then just kind of do Big Bird, Little Brother. Where you got that in story form, but in the match, you actually wrestled like two different men. And Kyle felt like his own guy for the first time, like next to Will, since they've gotten there. And he was just ruthless. And there was no bullshit. There was no screwdrivers, no Don Callis,
thank God,
shenanigans. He just got in there and fucking killed Will. That's what they needed to do.
Yeah. I love that because to me, like, Will should be one of those guys that doesn't lose very often. And the fact that they were willing to do it with Fletcher here, like, really signifies to me, like, this is someone they actually have some plans for, some ideas for. So I'm really, really, really hoping for a big showing in the C2 from Kyle Fletcher, one that maybe sees him coming out of his block. But to go on to the match a little bit more, I mean, there were so many huge spots. I think to me, the Styles Clash, Hidden Blade, kick out, like that was pretty awesome. And I think that's when the crowd's like, this guy could beat him. He could beat Will. But obviously, so many huge spots here. Girard, what did you think about this match?
I had a ball with this match. This, to me, I look at Kyle Fletcher, and he is, if you are a DC fan, he is Jason Todd to me. He felt betrayed by Will. He felt betrayed by Batman, and now I'm gonna be my own man. I'm gonna break away from what you used to be. I got my own look. I got my own fit. I got my own energy. I fight my own way, and I'm gonna show you I'm better than you. And to me, he was the Red Hood that beat Batman in this situation. And so he pushed Batman to his limits. Even the selling of Will with his limp arms and just different spots and like the nerve damage from his neck and then being attacked. Just playing off the story of when I held my son, bruv, and he held my hand, and I couldn't feel my son's hand. Like playing off of that narrative in the match is such a beautiful thing, and so I enjoyed that. I am just the stick in the mud that was like the Grimstone should have been the end. Because when he hit that Grimstone, the audible yelp that came out of me, I was like, oh, that's a move. That's it.
That could be a finish, yeah.
That's your version of the Tiger Driver. Bet. Put him down. Oh, he kicks out. Okay.
Well, it's Will Ospreay.
I threw my shirt into a different zip code. My shit ended up in Georgia somewhere. That's how fired up I was.
Yeah.
I'm glad it did actually directly lead to the finish instead of just going for another 10 minutes like they could have.
Yeah.
Will's instincts is to just kind of go. But he wrestled really disciplined here. Like it was probably his best match in AEW, and from that aspect of outside the swerve match at Forbidden Door. As far as what happens with Will after this probably should be his last high profile job for a while.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he's obviously got a tournament coming up here, so we'll get into some of those if there's any opportunities for him to lose, or maybe even in the final. I don't know, but this was
spoiler alert: he loses his first match.
Oh,
I would not be shocked if he did. Honestly,
that it's in the story. Like if you listen to the promo after, Fletcher and Don Callis are both like, if he could even drag his little limp body out of the hospital or wherever he is to get to the C2 to actually wrestle, I think Homie is going to be one of our. I wouldn't be surprised if Darby gets that win. If a Ricochet gets that win off of him, and then Ricochet's like, I know you. This is not the same you, Will. I'll see you in the future, but we're going to have to run this back as the excuse of why he loses to one of them. But
have they announced Ospreay's first one yet?
Juice.
It's okay.
It's Juice.
He'll get it. Won his first.
I'm talking out my ass. Never mind.
No, but that would have actually been a good story. That actually makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love this match definitely. It was a real cool match to see. I actually did. I did like Fletcher's look a little bit better with the longer hair, or at least the blonde hair. But I liked the way it represented that shift. I like that Ospreay came out in the black gear and he came out in the white gear. It was a real cool match here, and I'm really happy that they didn't do any silliness to get to the finish.
I thought that was very WrestleMania 25 in that attire. How Shawn came out in the white, Taker came out in the black, which Taker always comes out in the black, but Shawn purposely picking that all white.
Imagine Taker coming out in the white. Do that.
That might have been kind of icy. I can't lie.
That needs to be a Photoshop.
I hope he keeps the crown. I hope Fletcher keeps that little crown with the gold and white look for him, because him being like, I'm the future prince or the king or whatever, the proto star, but I'm
proto star.
This is my crown, and I'm looking for another crown.
Because I don't really know what it means, but it sounds cool. So that's wrestling.
It's like the prototype wrestler, and then he's a star.
Right. So just combine the cool words together. Just do it. I don't know.
I could do it about the NXT as intro and what he did on pay-per-view, but other than that,
sure. After this, we had an angle involving the women's championship. With Mina and Mariah. I didn't really add many notes here, but did y'all have any thoughts on this segment?
Meh. Kind of sucks.
Yeah.
I love the kick from Mina. Like, that kick was so clean.
That was cool. Yeah.
That shit was clean.
That kick was clean, and then I didn't notice the hematoma or the little lump that started forming on Mina's face until after. but she had a huge lump on her head.
Mm.
It's like one of those
Ooh.
anime ones you see in Naruto with someone just bopped in the back of the head. That's how crazy it looks.
Yeah,
That is exactly what it was like. That's hilarious.
yeah. It's
It's
weird.
to hold us off.
But like that's been the entire time. Like we went to All Out and we were like, oh, they're doing like the championship celebration. We're like, that's weird to save it for the pay-per-view, but now it's almost December and we're still kind of waiting.
It's so strange because I feel like they wanted to do it there and then Mina just probably couldn't be there.
Yeah.
And so they just said screw it and held it off. But this is kind of the issue with Mariah's title reign where it's basically just still in the Tonyverse. And she's still like Tony 2.0.
Yeah.
And they're just waiting for her to come back. Which glad to see Tony back. I love Tony Storm. Love her to death. I don't think they need to run it back for the title in Australia, which they're 100% going to do.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just let Mariah drop it to somebody, and then just do a blow off in Australia, a big like no DQ match or something like that,
Yeah.
and call it a day. Running her versus Mina at World's End, and then just wrap the story up because it's actively harming the title because it's kind of being held hostage between like 3 people instead of like giving Mariah actual opponents because Mercedes is as a TBS champion. All the stars are over there wanting to wrestle her. And it feels like she's the center of the division, which is Mercedes. No, Mercedes should be the center of the division. But she has your number 2 championship. Whereas the young 26-year-old who's only been on national TV for a year now is your world champion. Get why they did it. Love the storyline. Once she won it.
Yeah, it was a great match.
It was really a match. Probably didn't need her title reign to be all that long either. I don't need it. She probably could have dropped that for 3 months.
Yeah. And
you're going to hate what I want then. Because I want her to hold that sucker for a little bit longer. I want her to beat Tony at Grand Slam. And then I want her to drop it to Athena at All In. Not All In, because that's in Texas. Nope.
Not at Y'all In.
Earlier than All In.
Revolution?
Maybe that. But
yeah,
I want her in Athena.
I don't think that's necessarily a bad idea either. I think, pending the idea that she's like out of the Tonyverse and there's actual like challengers that people believe can win, I'd be fine with that as well. But it feels like it could just go back to Tony.
No, nothing against Tony, but like she doesn't need it back right now. There's such a bigger line of people who could do way more with it than Tony. Like I love what Tony's done, but
get ready to learn Storm Zero, brother. 4 times.
Yeah, I don't know.
Being a 4-time women's champion sounds insane.
Yeah.
And I love Tony Storm to death, and she's been a very good sign. One of the best signs in the history of the division. But 4 times is nuts.
I kind of feel like Moxley winning it again.
We get into it's like I love them, but I don't think they need it again.
Yeah. Yeah, not super interested in that. But there was another title match right after this. This was for the TNT Championship. This had a video at the beginning that I thought was pretty funny because it.
I loved it.
I mean, the video looked sick, and it was like of his mom talking to him about like you always do the right thing, and things are looking kind of crazy. He did kidnap Jack Perry and torture him, but I was like, but his mom.
Sometimes you gotta stand on business.
Yeah,
it's a jungle out there. You got
It was just funny.
I see what you did there.
It was.
But
jungle out there, you gotta get a boy, wrangle that boy up sometimes.
Yeah, it did look sick though. It did. It made me pretty pumped for the match. That being said, Girard. So when we were back at All Out, I was all right with the world title match. I wasn't super excited about it, but Girard was crashing out on the way home, and it's the fact that one of Danielson's only defenses was going to be against Jack. This one I thought he had a little mid-card run, not too many notable matchups, but this one felt like the one he was obviously going to drop it. Marcus, what did you think of the Reign and then this match here or this weekend?
As far as the Reign goes, I had high hopes for it, and I am a fan of Jack Perry. The Reign wasn't very good. I really don't remember many matches at all outside of the ladder match where he won it.
Yeah.
And then the world title match against Danielson, which I liked quite a bit, even though it's kind of crazy that was his only successful defense on pay-per-view in hindsight. Jack got to figure some things out. Like, I like the scapegoat character in terms of he's a better talker. He's a more confident talker than he was when he was Jungle Boy. But long term, that man is not a heel. It's not gonna work long term. Long term, he's a babyface. I need him to work like a babyface again. I find it kind of crazy that considering who he's associated with in AEW, that as a heel, he stripped his moveset back times 1,000 and just turned into a generic heel number 1,000. Where it's like, dude, Poison Rhinos are okay as a heel, brother.
You're literally aligned with the Young Bucks. Like, that's not how you wrestle as a heel. I don't get it.
Like, they've made a 20-plus year career and a Hall of Fame career. Shout out to them getting voted for 3 Reserve Hall of Fame, by the way. Like, they've made a long career after just beating, like, preening assholes that can do everything they say they can do and rubbing it in your face. Why don't you do that, Jack? Like, he was one of the best pay-per-view performers in the entire company for the first couple of years. Like, the match with Luchasaurus and Full Gear a couple years ago was really good.
Mm-hmm.
The Falls Count Anywhere match against the Super Click was awesome.
Yeah, you could always count on him to have a good undercard match. Like, if he was on the card, you're like, okay, that match would probably be pretty heated. Crowd will get pretty into him. This has not been it for me either. This match I found it pretty hard to get through just because quite a few matches that went long on the show. Gerard, what did you think about this one, and were you satisfied with the outcome here?
I want you to understand that what you probably felt during this is what I felt at All Out in person, live in living color.
Yeah,
that match was good. This one was just long.
It was good. It was 28 minutes for some reason, but it was pretty good. I think being in the building for one of these is always an interesting perspective because it was a lot of like the CM Punk chants and the drowning it, like people booing the Punk chants and then the other Punk, and then it's just lots of like, stuff that if you're watching on TV, you're not really gonna notice or anything.
That's the problem, though.
Yeah.
Why are we talking about Phil and Phil been gone for a year? Phil on another island living his best life. What's the scapegoat? Who is the scapegoat? What is that? How have you evolved your character since introducing that?
Mm-hmm.
Don't scream Windy City Riot at me. I'm tired about hearing about the intro when he first came back with that jacket. It was a cool jacket. Cool jacket, great entrance.
Yeah.
Whoever
it was exciting.
Great job. But what have you done since? I was open. I was excited for at least the TNT title portion because I was like, okay, cool. This will give him a spot to grow himself. Everybody on their up and coming journey needs that mid-card title reign, in my opinion, to help boost them. Unless your name's Brock Lesnar.
Mm-hmm.
And Cena had it. Booker and all of them have had it in the past. And so, like, give him this and let him grow with it. And even protecting him with the elite so that way he doesn't have to carry the whole ship by himself was a great move. But then I wasn't buying what they were selling. I don't see him as some unkillable kid. I see him as a kid. Like at the core of it, I see him as a kid. And I see him as a kid who's not evolved or grown his story or anything. He's just playing pretend. He's just doing what he thinks people want to see out of him.
Well, even
maybe that's the story, but like it's not for me. Like he's not lighting me up in wrestling matches. He's not lighting me up in the opponents or the stories. I like the opening package for Daniel Garcia because I was like, yeah, that reminds me of He Who Shall Not Be Named basically at this point. But like when we did fuck with Drake back in the day, there was those songs where he had his grandma popping up on some of these interludes and whatnot, and it put me in like when you in the zone, you do your own. Put me in that.
Detroit's own Big Sean's always got that, Gerard.
That man said Drake, Mr. 12 p.m. in court. Mr. Ibrahim, that you've been served.
Yeah, he's got some crazy stuff going on. But Novi put in the chat here a good point. He said the all-in coffin match was the basement of this ring when it should have been the peak.
Ooh.
I am still shocked at how bad that was. I thought that was going to be really good. Like
I
think that's why I fell off the wagon.
Cut for time too, and then I was just like, okay,
yeah,
this probably isn't going to be a great reign. And then the matches are just disappointing, unfortunately. Please learn how to do flips again, Jack. It's okay to do, and I'll go leave that for the next match we have on here for the next championship because
yeah.
I got thoughts.
Yeah, that definitely some thoughts there. Novi also said, Phil's chilling on the island of relevancy now. We could chill on the scapegoat. Phil has joined the bloodline, gentlemen.
Ooh, that jersey on. He ain't joined no bloodline.
You do have to put the jersey on if you're on the team.
And then you saw Phil over here.
That was the fun, dude. That was so funny. I thought I couldn't believe that was real because I don't think it was on the TV. I saw that on Twitter. I could not believe that.
He's like, I can't co-sign that. but I ain't mad at y'all for what y'all do.
Dude, I do need him to put on the Bloodline shirt. That will be the funniest day on Twitter ever, I think.
That was hilarious.
Now this was probably, because like I said, I didn't get to watch the show live, so I'd seen some takes on the show, and this was the one I was most bummed by, because Girard and we recently went to a big show, a big first ever show at Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling, and I got to see Takeshita up and very close twice, once against Speedball, and one of my favorite matches of the year, especially being in the building. And seeing Takeshita one-on-one with Ricochet after they had a really good triple threat, I just thought, man, this has a chance. Like, I was honestly more excited for this than I was for the triple threat, just because I thought this is Ricochet's time to like show exactly what he can do. I prefer singles matches in general, and obviously him and Takeshita should be a really great pairing. Marcus, why don't you take it away? I know you've already shared some of your thoughts there, but yeah, what are you thinking here?
What a disappointment. What a fucking disappointment. Like, Takesha's been on such a great run. He's been on best in the world level form. He killed in the G1, finally won a championship in AEW. He was looking good. And then you match him up with Trevor Mann, aka Mr. Ricochet.
Not the legal.
At this point, the way he wrestled, he getting the government.
We're doxing you. We're doxing him. What's his address?
Wikipedia already did it for us.
What's his address?
But nah, Trevor, brother, buddy, compadre. We love you when you flip, my boy. We ain't come when you're in AEW. We ain't coming here to watch you work epic New Japan main event style, bro. We don't need to see headlocks. We don't need to see you trying to build and build and build into a crescendo. Well, you didn't even get to a damn crescendo, first and foremost. Second of all, you're not good at doing this professional thing, dude. Just flip. Flip so hard, Jim Cornette blows a gasket on air. Flip so hard that everyone comes to the fence and goes, "Oh, Flip's good. I want to do that. I want to see a 630. Hell, I want to see a double moonsault off a cage one of these days or something. Do it to the outside or something like that, bro. A moonsault, something, anything. I don't need to see you having professional wrestling matches.
Mm-hmm.
Just go insane. Your last couple months on Raw, like the match against Dragunov, you were a fucking monster. Hell, you went to fucking Gleat of all places. Yes, Gleat. Which isn't even a real fucking company, first and foremost. That shit's a damn front for, I ain't gonna say the name, but y'all know. And you was going insane. You was doing 630s over there in front of nobody. And then you'll come to AEW TV and do the fucking spirit gun? Are you kidding me, my nigga?
Yeah. Well, that's pissed me off, actually.
I love as much as the next man.
I was gonna say, you like Yu Hakusho?
I don't need to see you spirit guns. Do the vertigo even. I like it when you do it against smaller guys, but don't try it against fucking Ricochet, against Takeshita. Don't do that. Trevor, flip. FLIP. At the chorus of the song Game Over. Flip, 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 flip.
Hey.
Flip.
That's a throwback.
Yeah, this was absurd, Girard. What were your thoughts on this one?
To be at Maple Leaf and have Trevor come out, dang, you got me doing it now too. Ricochet coming out.
That was sweet, though. That was sweet. I did not expect that.
Have that built in that matchup, and for it to finally hit and to have that excitement, and for it to be, I'm gonna keep it a buck with y'all. If I was playing matchmaker, this would have opened the show.
Yeah, I thought so too.
There are a couple matches that probably should have opened. The match placement on the card was kind of weird.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. I agree with that. I would have opened with this for sure. I think a lot of the burned out energy from Garcia winning, from all the other matches prior to, I think it just, which doesn't speak to what happened and still some of the reactions we got in the match. But I think after all we had already seen, and I hate to say this, but until he starts channeling, don't get that mask. Go be Prince Puma again, my dog. Do what you got to do, but like
he's got to find something in him.
But you can't. I cannot have your match come after Will's now. If you not gonna bust ass after Will, like
yeah,
Will flipping and dipping and doing way more than you. I'm gonna need you to pick up something, my dog. I feel the flips because I don't. I see him trying to become something more That way he can technically, I think his end game is to go back. I think he might go back to WWE to prove a point. But and
Yeah,
maybe take the Cody route of doing it, but to build himself up as a star. I expected something else also out of this match too, because I'm in my own little head canon. I definitely thought he had talked to the Hurt Syndicate by now. And I thought the Hurt Syndicate was gonna come out and help him get that international title.
mm.
And I think we still might go there later on. I think he becomes the Randall of the Hurt Syndicate, basically. He'll be the Randy Orton. We'll build him up. He'll take some losses. Bobby can't stand him because all he doing is annoying him. But eventually we'll build to them clashing at the end. But
Here's my thing about the building him up. Nigga, you 35 years old. You a grown ass man. What you gotta do? Just try and get Dragon Gate tapes and flip again, brother. That's all you got to do. It ain't that hard.
And the weirdest part to me is kind of what you already touched on, Marcus, is towards the end of his WWE run, he was going crazy on TV, like, consistently, and he wasn't making the pay-per-views, and I totally get his perspective there. If I can at least have some pay-per-view opportunities over in AEW, even if I'm still in this like general mid-card scene, that's more exposure, it's more big-time matches, like that's he sees more for himself, and that's really great. But unfortunately, this was not it, and some of the TV performances, it's been a lot of the same criticism. I remember even like in his matches against like Sammy Guevara, he was doing a lot of like just professional wrestling and slowing it down, and not what you watch Ricochet for. So I don't know.
Bro, this ain't SmackDown, bro. It's like flip. Sammy Guevara should not be out flipping you.
Yeah, I don't get it. I don't want to. Yeah,
that is kind of crazy when you put it like that. Sammy Guevara is hitting crazier flips right now than Ricochet, and that used to be the king of flips.
And I like Sammy Guevara. Don't get me wrong, but nigga, you are Ricochet. What's wrong with you?
I don't know. I'm hoping that he snaps out of it. I thought this would be the one that he would do it, similar to like that Mercedes like little funk she was in. I thought this was the perfect pairing. Turns out didn't quite hit like I wanted it to. Jumanji Hunter said he was more flippy in WWE. I definitely agree with his at least with the summer run. The summer run he was going really well.
Let me ask y'all this: he's bigger, and AJ got bigger. And when AJ got bigger as an AJ Styles, AJ stopped doing the spiral tap once he got like muscle wise.
You think he got a little too strong?
Do we think that he's too big now? That maybe in from the over 30 range, my back be hurt when I wake up in the morning. I ain't doing no goddamn.
I mean, if
my shit hurt like that, I wonder what your back felt.
I get wanting to prolong your career, but I don't know.
Yeah, I saw the interviews when he first left, especially the Chris Van Lee one. He's like, if I'm not winning, I'm not doing 630. I'm just like, okay, fine, whatever, protect yourself. Double moonsault, that probably ain't happening again unless he's like doing off a cage, or something like that. But bro, you got more than that in your bag. We've seen it for the last 15 years of your career. Just pull it out.
Yeah.
You're free. You're in the land of the opportunity, and right now you in the C2. So I will be watching you with great interest, Trevor.
Mm-hmm.
Darby's in your block. And Darby's missed a get right when it comes to AEW talents coming in and being in funks. If you can't have a good match with Darby, clock's ticking.
It is. And speaking of the clock ticking, I tried to I couldn't do it the straight face. I'm coming, MVP.
That's a fantastic segue.
That was smooth.
That was crazy. Anyways, MVP and Shelton Benjamin taking out their brand new syndicate peer here in Bobby Lashley to go one-on-one against Swerve, one of the biggest stars in the company, one of the biggest baby faces in the company the past year or so. And this one, I think going into it, the reason I was super intrigued is because, this is a match where both of these guys you'd think would be pretty well protected. So how would they have this match here? Bobby Lashley probably wasn't going to come in and lose right away. So I had assumed going in that Bobby was going to get it done. But that being said, I thought Swerve made him look like $1 million, and Swerve didn't look bad in the process too. So even with what was kind of a bit of a squash towards the end, I thought Swerve had a hell of a performance here, and Bobby ended up, especially towards some of those big spots at the end, looked like an absolute killer. Marcus, what were your thoughts on this match?
I loved it. I really, really loved it. And it was probably the most effective match outside of Fletcher and Ospreay on the entire card on the night. because it was a short match. It wasn't very long.
Only 12 minutes.
On a match. Yeah, on a 12-minute match on a night where a lot of matches went well over 20 or like damn near went into that ballpark. This was short, sweet, wrapped up in a tiny bow. Swerve looked like a damn superhero when trying to make his comebacks. That Swerve stomp that Bobby took to the table was fucking crazy. And then Bobby, he just threw Swerve all around the ring, speared him to the barricade, smoked his boots off when he got in the ring, and then just passed him out with a damn hurt lock, which looks absolutely nuts. I love that move when he does it because he's like one of those guys where a move just feels right when he hits it. And putting a nigga in the full Nelson when you're 270 plus pounds, built like a rock, you're going to sleep. So happy for Bobby. Swerve man look crazy, man look great.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't lose anything in a loss. Bobby gains a lot in the win. This feud's most definitely continuing. I can't wait to see what they do next when they start expanding stuff.
Yeah, Girard, what do you think about this one?
I would say just to even tag off that point, Marcus. If we want to go through the depths of the history of the Hurt Lock, it's only right Bobby has it because Bobby was the first person to break the Master Lock back in the day.
Yes,
So
sir.
you remember that. So Bobby then taking that and using it for himself and his little extra little twist to it at times.
No, he looks like he's killing people. It's a great
man,
move.
they hurt people. They hurt people.
Mm-hmm.
Hey,
They do.
By the way,
they had the crowd chanting it at one point.
Like,
during
shout
the
out
match,
MVP and shout out Nana. Those are the two best managers in the world right now, to me, for my money.
Oh, my favorite part, one of my like low key favorite parts of the entire show was here when Shelton got like super hot that he got ejected, and you saw the moment when MVP like looked at him in the face and he's like, "Hey man," he's like, it reminded me of like that respected vet in the NBA trying to calm down like a heated young guy that's like trying to get in a fight, and he's like, "Hey," he's like. You can't get attacked. Like we have to walk. And you just saw that moment when Shelton's like, you know what? You're right. You're MVP. You're the manager. And he went to the back. I just thought that was a super cool like little thing that was executed so well, and that like that's the kind of thing that MVP and Shelton can bring to the table. Like
there was this one thing where right before Bobby speared him to the barricade, like MVP's like yelling with the damn cane, "Kill him, Bobby! Kill him, Bobby!" just fucking smoked him.
Yeah.
Like, he's doing like, "Do we hurt people?" chants, conducting the audience, and not on the other side's doing the Who's House, Swerve's House stuff. Like it felt like a Roman gladiator fight.
Yeah.
In the Coliseum. Like Swerve was in there wrestling an animal, and he just got obliterated. Tried his best, but Bobby tore his ass limb from limb.
Speaking of Gladiators, this podcast was sponsored by Gladiator 2, now in theaters, starring Pedro Pascal.
Well, one day. But, what I was going to say was, speaking of killing people, Marcus, I got to mention because, I'm a big football fan. I'm a big Detroit Lions fan. And
right.
I'm so sorry about what my Lions did to the Jaguars a couple of weeks ago. But I thought that would be Doug Peterson's last day. So I don't know.
We all did.
I don't know what's going on.
All of us did. Shad Khan's yacht is parked in the middle of the damn city somewhere. And we're thinking, okay, something about to go down. Someone about to get fired. Thank God we about to get free. No. He's back. Probably going to get fired at the end of the year, but probably should have done it at the bye week while the game was good. Especially after getting absolutely obliterated like that.
Yeah.
In front of everyone.
It was pretty insane. And also, I got to mention, my fantasy football team is thankfully still holding on despite drafting Travis Etienne. That was my bad. I'm not gonna do that again. But
hey man, Tank Bigsby is probably the best back on the team now. Sadly,
yeah.
I love Tank, but I love Travis too. It is what it is. That Lions game won me a lot of money because I got all those prop bets correct. All the touchdowns.
There you go. So, lots to choose from, right? Yeah. But it's I'd like to see the Jaguars shine. I feel for all of our teams that were kind of in the gutter for a while. So, I wish y'all the best.
They've been nothing but an abject embarrassment most of my life.
Yeah.
Like, they went to the playoffs in 2007. I was 10 years old. Didn't go back again until I was 20. And we almost went to the Super Bowl somehow.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, okay, we got some.
That run was crazy.
Basically, like, the face of the franchise. And then within 2 years, he gets traded because, of course, Blake Bortles gets the contract for no reason. Back in hell. We got Trevor Lawrence now. Second year, we're in the playoffs. Big comeback win in the wild card round. 8-3 start the next year. And test for the number 1 seed. Then Trevor dies. Missed the playoffs. And now we just suck. Yeah. Misery. End my life.
It's
Sounds like
so
you gotta wait a
sad.
couple more years for your. If it happened at 10, if it happened at 20, it sounds like you got a couple more years to go before you get that. At
I'm
least you're
ready.
getting a
I'm
little more
prepared.
love than us Detroit fans. It literally,
Yeah, we
when I
know
was
about it
one, was the
definitely.
last
Oh
time
But
he
yeah,
did
I'm
anything.
happy for y'all. Like y'all actually got y'all shit together in our real fucking organization.
Mhm.
Happy for y'all. Us, on the other hand, we're stuck in hell.
Yeah.
Have faith. If
Well,
we can make it, you can too.
I,
0-16 to what we are now. Hey, come on, man.
there you go.
Anything can happen.
I do think the
I
dynamic is
hope
always
so.
funny, Marcus, with that, you're in the area, you got to go to lots of those Jacksonville tapings back in COVID times, but the fact that also the Cons are partially responsible for your football misery, I just, it's such an interesting dynamic.
Partially. Shop Khan will hear from my attorney one day. I will put him my therapist bill.
Well deserved. Well deserved. Um, you know, I enjoyed the football talk there, right in the intermission as we glide into our main event. Orange Cassidy, John Moxley. Early blood. They started off pretty hot. I thought this was a really good performance from Moxley, from my opinion. I always liked like the nails being dug into each other's backs kind of spot. Like it definitely added that little layer of intensity that they wanted to bring. Which it was interesting that this was so close to that Bobby and Swerve match, which is also really physical. But I thought they did a good job of differentiating it kind of with some of the blood, and they didn't do the blood in the one before. So I thought it was a pretty smart decision there. But I enjoyed a lot of this match. I'm not quite sure about how I feel about the finish still, but Girard, what did you think about the main event here?
I walked into this just kind of happy to be here
Yeah,
because I already knew, in my opinion, OC was not going to win this match. So from this point on, I'm here for the fun of this match. I'm not here. I know what the story is. Basically, I'm here to just see it all unravel to see if I like it or not. And I had a ball with it. The when I have to get off my couch, get up and walk around my couch to see you digging your nails that badly to the blood coming out. Like I've seen nail rake spots before, and yeah, I've seen it with, especially with our less melanated fellow brothers out there wrestling. When you pull that back, you can really see people's hands. Okay, you just put a little pressure on their back. When you see the blood coming following right after the nails, I'm like,
It's like, first
yo,
of all, cut your nails. Second
yo,
of all, you were digging
yeah,
deep.
nasty. What the
yo.
hell?
Destroying dermises out here.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all are for the match. Y'all are really dying for the cause, and so I love that. I've loved every single one of their matches they've had. I love the All Out the most still at
Yeah.
this point.
Yeah.
I think I'd have to go Full Gear last year and then this, and I only Full Gear last year only because of the ending of this one. Just kind of was unsatisfying, but it's also what I expected to a degree. I just kind of wish the person interfering wasn't Wheeler. Because if the whole point of the promo on Dynamite was I'm taking out you so I can get to Mox, just leave Wheeler out of it then. Like have Wheeler limping or something, or like, but him being that, I don't know. Maybe Wheeler's the one to distract OC and take him away from the story, and that'll be his main focus through the Death Rider story moving forward. And that's really what I felt coming out of this match was, all right, we've thank you for wrestling Mox. We've given Mox some credibility. We've given him a title defense, and now we're gonna shoo you over here, and you're gonna now face Wheeler, and this is gonna be your program for the next month to 2 months moving forward. That regard, I don't like it for OC because I was actually really liking this push to make him not a world champion, but a main eventer. And so I enjoyed that energy coming out of OCS. Once again, if I'm gonna stand on, I like the Acclaim for being one of those homegrown acts. He was doing this before AEW, but for his main national notoriety to be on AEW's television, for him to get to this level, especially a year ago facing Mox and being one of those people who, yeah, I beat him. I know what it takes to beat him. I don't want you all to get hurt because I know what it did to me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna do this for y'all. I love that aspect. I also love the fact that we didn't make our baby faces look stupid and keep them in the back and just, oh, for your dignity, OC, we'll let you do it alone while everybody's jumping you and distracting you and causing problems. And there's Pac and Claudio down here now too, and Marina Shafir fear acting a fool all day long. So like, no, we're not gonna help you with that. I love the fact that we had the conglomeration come down and actually support him. Because like a real friend, hey, don't let me handle it on my own. If I'm getting my ass beat, and I told you that, there's gonna be a point in that ass whooping where I'm gonna want you to come save me and
Right.
have my back.
It's like Big Mike in the wood, bro. Stacy for the beat his ass like, no, it's my fight.
Exactly. But I've talked a lot about this. What are we feeling, people? How did you all feel about the match? How did you all feel about the outcome? Am I? Because let's talk about the match, because I feel like the after match is its own thing in itself to get to. So I'm trying to tiptoe around that. So
yeah, Marcus, what did you think about the match here?
I like the match a lot. Like, say what you want about Jon Moxley and some of the stuff he does, like leading up to this match, and what you may or may not have thought about the story in the end. When the bell rings, he wrestles exactly how you need him to in his role. Like, he's out there being a killer. Like, I thought Orange Cassidy was gonna die in that ring. He's wrestling a bear, gets clawed out immediately. The back rake spot, he's bleeding all over the place. Like, Orange Cassidy trying to jump him and get the drop on him immediately was the best part of the match for me personally, because I'm not waiting for a guy that was out here hog tying the damn roster, tried to murder Danielson multiple times to just wait for the bell to ring, do the whole ding 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 lockup bullshit. No, I'm gonna come after your ass. I'm gonna go get you before you go get me. Which Orange Cassidy, being a smart babyface, kudos to him. Always been a big fan of him. Always thought he could be in a main event spot since at least 2021. And I'm glad you got to have the opportunity here. And the match itself, probably a little closer to All Out last year than it was the Full Gear last year in terms of how it ended up coming across to the viewer. And it was the bloody, violent affair that it needed to be. The conglomeration coming down was a great bit. Like, they went like full Attitude Era main event with it.
Yeah.
Where you had interferences, you had people running down to even the odds, you had blood, you had all that. Willow Nightingale, bro. I love Willow with all my heart, and so do the fans. She is the best babyface in this company. I will go to my grave saying that. The pop she got when she ran in and tackled Marina. Oh my goodness! Thank you, because I've tired of Marina beating the shit out of all the men.
And no one comes out to help. Yeah.
Like, does the women's locker room care? Like, does anyone there want to step to her? Like, y'all okay?
Yeah.
Y'all got your own dishes over there? Thank God for Willow. She's a standard bearer of this company. I'm so happy she's involved in something major like this. So happy she's even the odds. Like, that was great.
I hope she doesn't do a job, though. Hoping she doesn't. I don't want to speak it into existence, but
that's probably gonna happen because Mox is controlling the story and loves Marina Shafir.
Yeah.
So there's that. And Marina's not exactly a good wrestler. I'm gonna go out and say it. If it's a street fight or if it's just a brawl,
yeah, sure, you
fine.
can make it work.
I don't need a standard wrestling match out of that. But the finish, it was a little aggressive. I like Wheeler Yuta. I am a fan of him as a wrestler. In a main event feud, I don't need him being the difference maker.
It's a lot of Wheeler.
It's aggressive when it comes to Wheeler Yuta, and I like him a lot.
Yeah.
But it is what it is.
Yeah, I enjoyed like the kind of chaos of it, because it definitely doesn't feel like a usual AEW main event. Like, it definitely felt unique, but definitely some interesting things there towards the end. We had Hangman showing up. Crowd didn't really know what to to make of it, right? Because they kind of just had an awkward stare until Christian slides in, hits his finish. Hangman just says, you know what, whatever, take the contract. He's not invested, but Christian goes to cash in. Jay White comes in, hits a Blade Runner. Claudio and Pac attack Jay White. Then, they all go outside. Darby drives the car into the truck, which I guess was actually just Darby. Like, it was not a stunt double. Like, that, he's insane. But definitely lots of chaos there. I'm not sure as far as the direction goes, like, if I'm super into like a multi-man, but I think it should be fine. And it's a couple of big feuds. Do you think that's where we're going, Marcus?
It's where we're going.
Yeah.
It's 100% where we're going.
Yeah. That's kind of what I figured. But it's not the worst case, because I think you're kind of the only one I've been really wanting has been Samoa Joe, but unfortunately that he may be going in a different direction towards Chris Jericho.
Tree, if you
and that's just so sad. It's something. But Definitely a really good main event, and definitely came out of this show overall pretty positive on it, even though there was a couple of ones that I was disappointed in throughout. Um, but real quick before we get out of here, why don't we do a little bit of C2 talk? We have the full lineups announced on a Sunday night around 10:30 p.m. on a video. It was a little bit late. I was kind of looking forward to it throughout the day, but it finally came out, and we had some matches actually announced already. But the leagues are as follows: the Blue League has Shelton Benjamin, Mark Briscoe, Kyle Fletcher, Daniel Garcia, the TNT champion, the Beast Mordos, and Kazuchika Okada, the reigning champion. And then in the Gold League, we have Darby Allin, Claudio Castagnoli, Brody King, Will Ospreay, Ricochet, and Juice Robinson. So definitely, so some big stars throughout the two leagues. There's some guys that definitely think will probably take quite a few losses. But what I want to ask first is, what are some of the most anticipated matchups that y'all have for the C2? And I'll start with Marcus.
Will Ospreay and Darby Allin.
Yep.
Mark it down. Ospreay versus Ricochet in the rematch. Mark that down. Shelton Benjamin versus Okada. I'll mark that down.
Yeah,
sure. Hell yeah.
I'm so happy Shelton's still like wrestling at a high level in 2024, and he's been really good in AEW. Brody King and Darby is pretty intriguing because I love that dynamic. They've always been really good. And then when he wrestles Ospreay, I think that will be really exciting because he's a good athlete, Brody, which is something that gets a little underrated about him. And Ospreay is really good against big guys. His dynamic with Lance Archer in particular in G1s has always been really fun to me. And I can't wait to see how that looks. So overall, I'm really, really locked in for this tournament. It's a good mixture of like stars. Like you have Will in it, Kyle's in it. Kyle Okada, I'm excited if that happens because they're in the Blue League. Kind of surprised they put Ospreay and Kyle in separate leagues. I thought going in they would have like Kyle win or Ospreay win in Full Gear, and then one of them gets to win back in the tournament.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Kyle gets to the final. I hope he does. And if he versus Okada in the league, which he will, I'm locked in for that. I can't wait to see how that looks. They had a really good match a few months ago that I was a fan of, and I want to see him build on that. And again, good mixture of star power, good mixture of young guys on the up and up, guys with experience in round robin tournaments. Like Sheldon's been in a bunch of G1s. Ospreay will kind of speak for themselves. Juice has been in a few G1s himself. And yeah, it's a good balance. And they're on both shows this year instead of one being on Collision, one being on Dynamite.
Yeah.
Which is a fun thing to do now.
It's nice, and the part about the C2 I always like is I really like when they lean into that sports like centric coverage of it, right? Like I think one thing that I saw today, and I haven't watched the video yet, but they did like a little preview for it, and they made graphics where it shows like their record against everyone in their league this year, and then it shows like their record in past tournaments, and I just really enjoy that because you have those stories that like you see throughout the tournament, whether it's someone struggling for their first win or struggling against certain types of wrestlers. I'm looking forward to that aspect of the TV because it's always something that I can appreciate, and it's not something you can necessarily do all year, but for a tournament like this, I really enjoy it. I really hope we can get those inside the NBA broadcast. I want Chuck and Kenny and Shaq to break down some Continental Classic. I know it's not gonna happen, but man, I saw a tweet of that.
It's in the Rainmaker on him, Chuck. It's in the Rainmaker on him, Chuck.
Let's talk about San Antonio.
Garcia can't go in there. Garcia can handle him.
Dude, if they went to San Antonio, that'd be crazy.
Oh my God!
I love about San Antonio.
I need it.
There's a lot to like about this tournament. Girard, what are some of the things you're most excited to see?
So Marcus over here just dipping into my computer, looking at my list. The majority of my list is already named.
Mm-hmm.
So I to go off of that, one match that I don't think really was named earlier was DG and Fletcher. And just those two young up and comers just out there trying to go prove something in this tournament. I think that's going to be a fun match, but I lean at the potential finals, and I see Fletcher winning, but only in one scenario. And it depends on who wins the gold. And I could see us having a Fletcher Ospreay 2 in the final for the championship, which Fletcher then walks out with the championship as well. And that's how Fletcher gets to the final. But then Fletcher has to beat Okada to get to the final.
That would be a pretty big statement right there, I think. Marcus, do you think Fletcher has a shot to win this thing?
I really think he does.
Yeah.
Especially if you put him over huge like he did against Ospreay. clean as a whistle, pretty definitively. If he doesn't get to the finals at least or gets out of the block, then I don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, I don't know what it was for, really.
He almost has to.
Yeah.
Say, I don't mind if people get to the block finals and that's where they drop off, because I think DG gets to a block final, possibly. If it's not Fletcher who gets to the block final, I think DG gets to the block final.
He could. There's a lot.
But
I feel like
Okada most likely gets to the final. I don't see a world where we don't throw Okada in that final. And I see it either being Okada Claudio, because Claudio had the feud already with him, and Okada ran from him before, and it came out to a time limit draw. So Claudio still is looking for revenge. If we want to make Claudio be that big monster, we can. We could put Allen in his place, but I don't think Allen's focus should be the Continental Championship. I think he should be focused on getting to that world title.
I've never heard someone just call him Allen before. I was like, who the hell are you talking about?
I've
never heard just Allen.
Never heard that.
That's why I got it on here.
But now he should get far. He should win matches. He should probably get his win back against Claudio, which I think is probably his main focus, is going into the C2 and just getting them ready for next year.
Yeah. I think the Blue League has a lot more guys that I can see taking a lot of losses. So, like, because I think the Beast Mortals could take a lot of losses. Mark Briscoe obviously did last year. Not sure Shelton Benjamin how his record's going to fare. But Daniel Garcia, I'm particularly interested in seeing, just because like it's interesting to have someone that just won a different championship in the C2. This is how are you gonna? Is he gonna go like 500? Like that's probably the likeliest to me.
Yeah. And that's not even the other part. He's starting off with Okada. That's his first match.
That's crazy. I did not notice that. That is insane. But yeah, as far as most anticipated matchups, a lot of it might have already been hit. I'm definitely excited for like some of those Blue League like random matchups. Like I have the Beast Mortos versus Kyle Fletcher. Just as a lot of Kyle Fletcher's breakout performances this last year have been some lucha matches, and the Beast Mortos has been one of my like up and coming favorites that I've grown more and more a big fan of. Is there any like dark horse that y'all can pick that has a shot to maybe make it to a final here? I know we kind of went over Claudio.
Ricochet. And that's crazy to say it, but Ricochet is my dark horse.
It's hard to pick.
I say Brody.
You say Brody? Yeah, I like those. I'm hoping for I'll stand with Monty, and I'm hoping Mark Briscoe has a good showing, but this is a failing agenda here, so I don't know if I want to hop onto it. I think it'd be cool, but
I think him and DG,
the Boss Man Mott don't do it.
Yeah,
you have to look at the story of last year. They both were two losing people in the whole C2 thing, and the whole story for DG, I think, was, or maybe Mark, one of them was just to get one win. And so if that's the story of last year, this year, I think they probably do what a Swerve did in last year's tournament. Swerve did pretty good, but never made it out the final.
Sure.
Out the block final. So like I could see them having a Swerve-esque run. Mox didn't make it to the final either.
Yeah.
Or did he? Or did
Brian
did it a three-way, yeah. In one of them.
So like I see good showings for Mark, especially being the former ROH champion. I see a good showing for our TNT champion out there. I honestly think after having this talk, I'm leaning more Fletcher for myself. And I think Fletcher will face Okada. It'll be a time limit draw, so they both get points. Then we get to the final, and Fletcher's finally going to get his dub over Okada in the block final to move forward to then take out Will.
I like it. I think Juice Robinson's definitely gonna be the Detroit Pistons of last year. He's gonna earn himself
I'm wearing my hoodie, dog.
He's gonna earn himself.
He's repping the city and everything, man.
Like, and unfortunately, we didn't even get the first pick. We got the fifth pick, just because of the lottery. But maybe Bullet Club Gold will add a new talent, a new exciting talent with the first pick. But that is the C2. So I'm definitely excited for that little sports edition. To AEW television. It's nice to have some matches with some stakes on every show. I always think that's fun. Novi has a prediction here: Blue Finals, Okada and Fletcher. Definitely agree with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much all that I had on the rundown. Marcus, thank you for joining us. We really appreciate talking graps with you. Is there anything you wanted to plug or anything you have coming up?
Obviously, check us out on the Dynamite review. I'm there with the Boss Man Monty and Charlie every Thursday, 6:30. I do my own football podcast for the Florida Gators, the Swamp Inside Florida Athletics. You can go and follow the Twitter page at inside_swamp. We have a couple live call-in shows after big wins. We even a couple of months ago got to interview DJ Lagway, the starting quarterback for the Gators now.
Wow.
This is right before he actually officially signed and put pen to paper.
Oh, sweet.
So
Yeah.
that was great. We probably never do it again because now he's on campus, but
Sure.
it was a great moment for us. Yeah.
Yeah. That's super cool. I'm excited to hear about that. That's really awesome. Girard, I always do a bad job about this, but if you're listening to the show, like the video, leave a subscription, hit the notification bell, do all those things, leave a comment after this. Definitely helps the growth for the page. We're trying to get to 50 subscribers. Is our current goal right now. We're at about 40, so we're looking to get to 50 hopefully by the new year. And yeah, with that being said, if you're listening to Wrestle Hook, thank you for listening. And if you're hooked on wrestling, this is the place